What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for SWV and Xscape, the Queens of R&B, Season 1, Episode 5. One more episode to go, you guys. Thank you, Jesus, for that small miracle, right? So, that's my nose ring that's done flipped around. Wow. So before we go ahead and get into the review, actually the episode is titled Sisters of Choices, right? So before we hop into this, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, and you guys aren't subscribed yet, do me a solid favor and stop checking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the deal. Do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss the Queens of R&B, shall we? All right, guys, so this episode, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm really ready for this show to be over with because this show is just social media. I'm so sick of the Xscape stands. I'm sick of the candy stands. I'm just sick of all of it, right? Because the crap is just all up and down my timeline. It's on my timeline. It's on my YouTube timeline. It's just everywhere. And at this point, I'm just really over it. I'm tired of seeing it, right? So this episode, we open up and we see Tamika. So Tamika has called Latasha up and telling Latasha that, that they need to sit down and have a conversation with each other. And I absolutely agree. I also go back to what I previously said. Or maybe I said this, I know me and my friend were talking about this. I don't know if I said this on the channel, right? But I do think that not SWV, but I think that the ladies of Xscape need to sit down with a counselor, right? Because there's so much stuff between them. And I do know that Latasha did a video on, I think, Friday, where she was apologizing to Tamika, Tiny, and Candy, right? And she was crying. And then she also talked about the fact that she and Rocky have an open marriage. As far as that whole conversation about Latasha having an open marriage, the only thing open in that marriage is Rocky's penis to another woman's vagina. Tasha and Rocky are not in an open relationship whatsoever, right? I don't believe it. I do not believe that to save my life. And in this gospel realm, I was like, does that help her, right? I know that Winter from Love and Marriage DC tweeted about it, right? And I said, Winter was talking about, it's not a good, it's not going to be good for her trying to go into this gospel world. But I had to say to Winter, there are so many women in the church, that share their husbands with other women willingly or unwillingly, right? So that's another story for another day, right? So we see Taj, Taj, your body look good when you were doing that little striptease for your husband. I'm like, okay, Taj, I see you. So we then see, Tamika as she went down to the studio where Tasha was, right? Because Tasha told her, well, I'm in the studio, so come on down, right? So Tamika went down to the studio. She gave her brother-in-law the cold shoulder when she came in, right? So Tamika told Tasha, she sat down with their mother and she apologized to their mother. And as I've stated plenty of times, Tamika is a lot better than me, right? I hate this, but you have to remember with Latasha, Tamika, Candy, and all of them, right? They're Southern. Y'all know if you're from the South, the number one thing that we hear, especially as black people, black kids growing up, respect your mama and dad, respect your elders. That's something we're heavily taught here in the South, to respect our elders. But for me, I've never really gone along with that sentiment of respecting your elders, because respect is a two-way street. You got to give respect to give respect. And I actually told one of my teachers that years ago. She was like, I'm your elder, and you need to respect me. And I told her, but you don't talk to me with any kind of respect. So it's okay for you, because you're an adult, to talk to me however you want to talk to me. But then I have to sit there and take it and be respectful to you? No. And I told her it doesn't work that way. I told her, you talk to me any kind of way you want to talk to me. You want to raise your voice at me. You want to dictate to me. You want to, especially she should raise her voice at me and yell at me. And I told her, you yelling at me is not going to make me want to do anything. I'm like, my own mama don't even yell at me. And when she does, I tell her, don't yell. You don't have to yell at me. If you want me to do something, just ask. And she's like, well, I'm older than you. I don't give a fuck if you're older than me by 2 years, 2 months, 3 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60. I don't give a damn. You're gonna respect me. And that's why I said with Tamika, she's better than me. Because when her mama told her if she put her hands on Tasha, that she was gonna whoop her tail, baby, I would have called her bluff and said, okay, I'll put my hands on your daughter and I'll put my hands on you. What you gonna do then, sis? So, she apologized to her mother, right? So then Tasha said that, they both have some fault in what's going on with their relationship. Now, me personally, do I agree with that? I really kind of don't. Because I feel like, especially after watching Tamika's video last week, I honestly don't feel like Tamika has any blame in this at all, because we've saw it. Tamika has gone along to get along with her sister, basically, right? Going against Candy and saying that Candy was going around sleeping with Jermaine and his daddy. That was in defense of Tasha. So I can't really sit here and say that Tamika has done anything. Now, again, we don't fully know everything that happens in and out with these girls. We just know what's in the media and what's on these shows that we watch of them, right? So it could be more that's underlined there. But going back to what I just said a minute ago, I believe just from watching Tamika's video, you and your husband Rocky got a lot to do with it. But we're gonna pause here and we're gonna move forward, you guys. So next up, we see as all the ladies, they met up with the exception of Candy, right? So they're auditioning dancers for this show that they're gonna do. You guys, it could be a thing of egos, and I think part of it could be a little bit of ego trip when it comes to both ladies, right? I'm not gonna sit here and just put everything on Candy, everything on Tasha. I think there's equal blame for everybody. It's a lack of communication, and I would Xscape at this time. Did they have proper management? Because when Candy brought up the money situation, I was thinking, why don't you guys let your managers talk to SWV's managers and y'all work that out that way? Like, that's something that I was wondering. Do y'all? Now I know in the show that they talked about getting different management, but I don't know if they had parted ways with their management. And if you guys are privy to that, please leave it down in the comment section, right? So we talked about who are the best and worst dancers in each group respectively. So in SWV, Taj is the best dancer and Lily is the worst. And then with Xscape, it is Tamika who is the better dancer. And we all know Candy kind of has 2 left feet, right? We've heard Candy say she's not the best dancer. So then we later see the ladies of SWV, right? So they all met up and they're talking, Lily is talking about her Sister Hot Pussy book and how it's a little hard for her to write this erotica, right? Was it Taj that brought up 50 Shades of Grey? I'm sorry, you guys. No shade to anybody who read 50 Shades of Grey, but that book is boring as the fuck. My best friend actually read 50 Shades of Grey and she gave me the copy to read. I didn't finish. I opened that book and I don't even think I got out the first chapter before I fell asleep in it. And my mom actually read it and I was like, oh my God. When my mama told me she read that book, I was like, girl, you did what? She said, yeah, I read it. I was like, no, please don't. I'm like, no, mother. Now, there was an erotica book that my best friend gave me and actually got hooked into that book, and I cannot remember the name of that book. I think I still have the book. It was a trilogy, and it was 50 Shades of Grey-esque, but this erotica was really good. I think her name was Alessia something. I cannot remember what that woman's last name was, but I know it was Alessia. Her book was good. The sex scenes in that book were like, oh my God. Like, so to know me is to know that I'm a very visual person. So if I'm reading a book, I can kind of, picture I can visualize it in my brain. So I'm a very visual person. These damn birds that keep landing on my balcony. But I'm a very visual person, right? So with this book that we were reading, me and my best friend read. She read one book. She finished the first book and gave it to me. She was on the second book when I was reading the first book. Then when I finished the first book, she was finished with the second book and gave it to me, and she was on the third book of the trilogy, right? And then when I finished the third, I didn't even finish the third book, but I think I still got it. But yeah, I'm a visual person. 50 Shades of Grey just ain't for me. I've never even saw the movies. Never even saw the movies because 50 Shades of Grey was just it was just dry porn for me. It was very dry porn. It was kind of like, what's the porn where, you don't see the penetration or nothing. It's just, you can just see the person's upper body. Like you might be able to see I don't even know if you see, oh my God, small slow stories. I oh God, I be trying not to give y'all too deep into my life, right? But there was this one time that I found a porn, and it was one of those where you couldn't see anything. You just hear the woman moaning, and I'm like, but I can't see anything. Like, zoom the camera down. Like, what am I watching? It's like a damn movie. Like you see the people having sex, but you don't really see it. I'm like, what's the purpose of this? Who gets off to this? I'm sorry. Who gets off to porn that you can't see any kind of action? Like, I'm a visual person, so if the man is, performing fellatio on the woman, I like to see that, If the woman is pleasuring herself, I like to see it. Like what's going on here, right? But 50 Shades of Grey, that is some dry ass shit. No shade to anybody who likes 50 Shades of Grey. It was just dry. It was literally dry porn, like dry as hell. So they talked about the show, right? So we do see a flashback between Tamika and between Taj, right? So they were talking about what song would close the show. You guys, I'm not even finna get too deep into that. Both songs that they talked about are good songs, right? Weak is a good song. Weak is, it would be my favorite, right? But then, understanding. Why would you close with understanding? Why not close with, let me think of some songs. Let me think of what song I would like to kick it old school style, right? Why not kick it old school and end it with just kicking it? Your first single. I think that the fans would like to hear that. But understanding, I would even say understanding. I wouldn't go for understanding. I would also probably say My Little Secret, but that's a slow ballad. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. There's one song, but it's not necessarily their song. It's MC Lyte, and it's an MC Lyte song where they're featured on it, and I love that song. They could do that. Well, they could do their part on that song. I don't know. I would honestly think that y'all would want to kick it with an upbeat song, because we'll talk about that set list in a little bit too, right? But then we once again get into the social media followings. That has been a topic of discussion on social media all day. Followers don't equate to sales, right? And people are saying, yes, it can. No, it can't. Yes, it can. So, in a roundabout way, yes, followers can. It doesn't equal. So, just because somebody has followers doesn't mean that people are going to if they have a product, it doesn't mean that people are necessarily going to go buy the product. Now, can social media help you with marketing and promotion? Yes. But just because you put something on social media and you market it, it doesn't mean that people are going to buy it. Like, let's just put that out there. It doesn't mean that just because you put it on your Twitter, your Instagram, right, that people are going to flock to it. Ask the people on OnlyFans. There are some people who can make good money on OnlyFans, and there are some people who don't make that much money on OnlyFans, right? Same, like I said, social media can help you. It can be a part of your marketing strategy. But if you are solely basing your marketing strategy on social media, you have a problem, because that's not it, right? Because let's talk about social media following, right? You have accounts on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and wherever else that can be inactive, that people just subscribe to you once before and they haven't been back on their on their platforms yet, right? You have people who might not necessarily like you and follow you just to see what you're doing in your day-to-day life. They just hating on you, just want to see you fall, right? And then you have the people who, are your diehard fans, right? Then you just have people who just see you from certain places and be like, oh, I like this person. I fucks with this person. Let me follow this person. Won't even buy nothing from you, right? I know people like, oh, well, Bedroom Candy and OLG and Blaze. I wouldn't necessarily use OLG and I wouldn't necessarily use Blaze because if we're going to go by social media, they've been in the Blaze and OLG have been in the media for some negative stuff, right? Blaze, somebody got shot there. OLG and Blaze both have had negative health score reviews and it's circulated on social media. Bedroom Candy, that works because she has sales associates, number one. So Candy is not out there selling the Bedroom Candy. Her associates are kind of like with Avon and Mary Kay. There are people out there selling that stuff to people, showing them demonstrations, right? And then, so yeah, social media doesn't necessarily 100% mean that you're going to get the money. It just can be a helpful, useful tool for you. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go deeper into it, but we're going to pause here and move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So the next scene we see is Tiny and Zanique, right? Speaking of social media, right? I saw somebody made a very valid point, right? When it comes to social media, doesn't equate to sales. Ask Sweetie, what did her album do? She sold 2,000 copies of that album, and she has 1.2 million followers, or 12. She has millions of followers, but she didn't sell out her album. Now, excuse me. Now, we can say with Sweetie, her music just ain't that good, but there are people out there who love Sweetie, right? There are people out there who love her music, but 1.2 or 12.8, whatever the fuck she got, right? I think she got 12.8 million followers, right? Those people didn't buy her music. Kim Zolciak got millions of followers. She still couldn't pay her fucking bills. Right. So let's just keep that. But yeah. So Zani came over to Tiny's crib, and Tiny was telling her about the last show that they had. That Tasha did show up for sound check, and things are, for right now, things are good, right? And she was talking about the fact that actually, if you guys go look currently with Xscape, like all these shows that they're currently doing, they're doing it as a trio. It's Tamika, it's Tiny, and it's Candy. No Tasha. Tasha's nowhere to be found, right? And I think that's another thing. When it comes to Xscape, they can talk about what they're doing, right? But your biggest leverage is the quartet, the four ladies. You can't really leverage the three of y'all. Yes, people will still come and see y'all, and yes, Tamika can sing her sister's parts, but people would prefer to hear Latasha sing her verses, her parts, not her sister. But again, I'm not going to go into no deep conversation about that. So let's go ahead and move on. So we see Lily, her and her sister, they went to go get her grandpuppy, give her a bath basically, right? So they talked about the wardrobe situation with this show. Now, I'm sorry. Both groups, in my personal opinion, dress a little bit on the tacky side, right? SWV, they wear stuff from the 90s. It still look a little tacky, right? Xscape, they wear their Angel Brink's finest, and the Angel Brink's finest is ugly as fuck. Oh, Jesus, I just don't understand how people, no shade to Angel Brink's. I actually like Angel Brink's, but her clothes are just hideous. Hideous, right? Just hideous as hell. Honestly, I'm just really tired of all this stuff, to be quite honest with you guys, but let's pause here and we're gonna wrap up this episode. So we see Coco. So Coco met up with Candy and Steven and are going over the set list, right? Now, I do want to say one thing I've noticed. So when Steven sat down with Coco, he was telling them what song that they should open up the show with, right? And SWV is the one that's gonna open the show. And then Xscape was going to close the show with Understanding. I actually I was thinking about something. But when you think about it, when you think about headlining acts, right? Because initially when I was watching this episode, and then me and my friend had a conversation about it, if SWV opens, technically, okay, in a technical sense, since they're going to co-headline. One can open and one can close the show. And I'm cool with that, right? But if you kind of think about it, and just a little bit, if you just kind of think about it, if Xscape is closing the show, typically someone who closes the show, they're the headlining act. So why not close? I feel like what they could do is what I feel like should have been done is all of them are on the stage, right? So Xscape can be on the stage and SWV can be on the stage. And, they can, one of how they could do it is Xscape could probably start with understanding, and it kind of, how sometimes when people are doing duets, doing a duet of their songs together, how one artist, or even when you go to a club, how DJs mix one song and then they mix another song and then they keep mixing songs, right? So probably what they could have done is one group can sing their closing song, the other group can sing their closing song, and they close it together. This is where I say I think a battle of the egos are coming in, right? I think everybody just wants it to go their way, and it's not really any kind of compromise in the situation with anybody. There's no real true compromise, and I think that's really kind of getting on his nerves, right? But I was okay. I mean, I was okay with Coco. I know people were upset on social media talking about Coco, but y'all don't give the same energy to Candy that y'all giving to Coco. It makes no sense to me. So then we see the ladies as they met up with the stylist. I'm sorry, but them clothes look like down in the valley where the girls get naked. If you throwing bands, then she gonna shake it. Well, 1, 2, break them. 3, 4, break them. These niggas grind. Like, it was giving P-Valley. Them look like stripper clothes, right? And they said he designs clothes for strippers. I was like, I knew that right off the bat, right? So we also find out that Jay is going to be going back to school in the fall. So each of the ladies, they're sitting down and they're telling the guy what they basically want for their outfit to look like, right? So we finally get to Latasha. Tamika, you were egging Tasha on at this point because Tasha came in there, she was bright, she was smiling, and then you sit here talking about Diana Ross here, Diana Ross, and I last show Diana Ross this, Diana Ross that. I mean, everybody has their own different style. Now, we could talk about the Soul Train Awards with the Lady of Soul Award. As long as it's the same color pattern, the same scheme, I'm pretty sure the guy's gonna design it the same exact way y'all just, like, people have their different styles. Tamika, you like to show your titties. Candy likes shit that's form-fitting and showing off her curves. She want her titties lifted. She want everything, out, right? I don't know what Tiny style is. Like, everybody has different styles, and I just didn't like the fact that Tamika kept talking about Diana Ross this, Diana Ross that. Unless Diana Ross came in a whole different outfit than y'all, which I believe she did. But this guy, like I said, she's not going to someone else. She is right here in the same room with y'all. So let her say what she wants. Maybe I want this boob out and I want this boob covered up. Maybe I want a peekaboo up my, a beeline. Whatever, I don't know. What she wants is what she wants. Or Rocky. Whoever decides. Honestly, when it comes to Tasha, girl, I just really think that Rocky is pulling. He's puppeteering. I really do feel like Rocky is puppeteering the hell out of Tasha. So they got into another disagreement about the dressing rooms, the followers, and I'm like, oh my God, can we stop talking about this dumb shit? Like, it's at this point, it's really old, it's getting on my nerves, and I'm just tired of hearing about it, right? So to wrap up the episode, Xscape met up with Latasha. Actually, all of them met up. So it was Candy, Tamika, Tiny, and Tasha, right? So I want to point something out. Because remember, again, I don't really watch Candy speak on it, but I do see the clips and the clip notes, right? Now, I remember a few episodes back when Candy was talking about the fact that Xscape has their own rate that they have, and SWV has their rate. But who facilitates that deal? Because if Rocky is the one facilitating that deal, Rocky, because y'all talking about that Rocky was getting a kickback from the promoter. So how do y'all know Rocky ain't lowballing you? How y'all know y'all not getting lowballed in the end? That's my question. How y'all know y'all ain't getting lowballed? Like I just question that. If Rocky's getting a kickback, well, actually, if Rocky's getting a kickback from it, bitch, y'all are getting lowballed. Rocky's getting more money than y'all are. Rocky and Tasha getting more money than Tiny, Candy, and Tamika. And so they telling Tasha this. Tasha don't believe that Rocky did it, and then she called Rocky up on the phone. I'm like, girl, this scene right here just really solidified for me that yes, Rocky and Tasha took Tamika's mother money. That's all it really solidified for me. But like I said, thank God that next week is the finale of this show, because I'm really tired of it. I'm really tired of seeing all the shit on my timeline. It's just overkill at this point, right? And I think now what the biggest issue is, it's the stands. Will y'all please go and watch Swarm? Because this is what some of y'all look like on social media, going up and fighting battles for people that y'all don't fucking know and don't know you, don't pay your bills, don't put food on your table, don't put clothes on your back. Candy doesn't employ you guys. If y'all don't make money off of her videos, if y'all don't make money off the things that she does, if she doesn't pay you, or if you don't make money off of what she does on social media, shut the fuck up. Like, it's really getting on my last damn nerves, right? It's really getting on my nerves because I see so many people on Twitter of all places. If y'all don't take y'all monkey asses to sleep or do something, go to work, do something productive, not sit on social media and argue and cape for Candy Burris, a woman that is rich and don't care nothing about y'all. I'm not saying don't know nothing about y'all, don't pay y'all, unless you are a YouTuber and you make money from talking about her. What are y'all doing? Like, it looks stupid as hell. Some of y'all in y'all 30s and 40s and arguing about nothing. Just ridiculous. That's all. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, and until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. And also, I will also have episode number 3 of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. That should be up. It'll probably be up early tomorrow morning. I'm thinking about it. I watched it. It didn't really give much, but it'll be up. It ain't gonna be that long, but it'll be up. See you guys later.